So good morning, January the 9th, 2015. This is CISG113, Section 1, Information Security and Privacy. Today is the second class in the semester, also the second day in the first week of the semester. Because the camera is positioned over there, so I have to do a little bit of adjustment. Now, welcome back to this class. Let's double check on what's going to happen, because this is often what's happening in the second class. Okay, now, we have 18, that means we have 17 students. Okay, with 2 less, 2 fewer, all right? So let's try to see what's going to happen in the third class, but it's okay. Now, for those of you who were here on Monday, you know that we need to come back to this environment, the Moodle environment, almost every day, probably 3 times a day, in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, to get update on this course. And I have definitely showed you what you need to do, particularly speaking, in the context of using the tools, okay, to get yourself update on this class. So what I would like to do is, first of all, I will demonstrate to create a discussion thread, just like last time. And today I'm going to create another discussion thread immediately, and then you can use your mobile devices throughout the class to provide some feedback. All right. Also, do you remember today you were invited to provide a 2-minute or at most 5 minutes introductions of yourself. All right. So let me type in something first. So here we go. Just type in a message for today, because you are going to introduce yourself to the whole class. And as I mentioned as of last time, you're going to do a very brief introductions between 2 minutes and 5 minutes today. Standing up here, holding the microphone, and I'm going to videotape you. And then at the end of your introductions, you might want to back it up with a response to this message by clicking reply, okay? So this is what I expect you to do during class today. So the second thing which we'd like to do at user is, you can see that I'm going to establish an attendance record. So the way to do it is very simple. I showed you last time, but I showed you a little bit more details today on how to create this. So I'm going to add an attendance record for today. We start at 10 o'clock, and this is a class with 1 hour and 30 minutes. But we normally stop 15 minutes earlier. Remember, it's Control V. And then today is day number 2. And then today it's January the 5, 6, 7, 8. The 8th, not the 9th. Okay? So I report to the camera just 1 day more. So that's good. We're going to take attendance after the first half of the class. So when we come to week number 1, when you look at the schedule here, today is January 8th, first day. You see that we already in learning contract number 1, and I hope most of you have finished reading the syllabus, which is already here, okay? And most of you have already started reading some of those links, and after reading some of those links, you know that for the whole semester, we divided into 4 periods, with the first 3 periods as learning contract number 1, number 2, and number 3. The 4th period is learning portfolio, all right? So basically, the first 3 periods occupy the first 10 weeks of the semester, and we keep the remaining 4 weeks of the semester as a learning portfolio period, where you're going to recollect what you did in the first 3 learning contract and put into your learning portfolio artifacts of your accomplishment and do reflections of what you learned, and then come up with your sense of learning in this particular class together with the competencies you develop, okay? So in order to understand what competency we expect you to develop, you need to come to the course home here, all right? That's what we are going to elaborate a little bit more today. In the course home here, which I have just duplicated, this set links in our Moodle environment, okay? You can see down here we have 3 specific links which contain the GE, the program intended learning outcomes for general educations. Now, you will not discover this set of outcomes in the latest GE handbook, because this is the 4th year of the GE program and they are launching a review. But these set of program intended learning outcomes, which contains 7, has been used since 2011. So for me, I need to use it at least for this semester until they have a new set coming up by the fall of this year. You can see that we have 7 specific program intended learning outcome. That means at the end of your GE learning experience at the University of Macau, we do hope and we want to make sure that you will be able to do the following. First, to understand and utilize subject-specific knowledge. Whatever subject, for example, in this course is information security and privacy. To some extent, you can pick up some subject-specific knowledge there. Now, the most important thing is to engage yourself. Engagement is an active process of learning. Now, when we go to watch a movie in a cinema, we like entertainment. Entertainment is a kind of passive process of learning, that you want something to bombard you, to give you an impression. But engagement is a little bit different thing. You want to create stimulus on your own to engage yourself with questions of meaning. So we say that through our history, many people have a lot of very interesting, meaningful questions they want to solve and they have not solved it. And today, in the contemporary world, we still want to ask this kind of question. For example, what is the meaning of life? What am I supposed to do during my lifetime? And what are you supposed to learn within a 3-month period in this course? There's certain questions we want you to be aware of, okay? And in the context of information security and privacy, what are the knowledge you need to ask this kind of meaningful questions, okay? And the second program intended learning outcome, we simply call it PIDO, It's share ideas effectively in written and oral modes of communications. That means you have a chance to write something, such as your journals, such as your blog, reflective blog, such as a report, or even informal written communications notes in your forum discussions. So we say both formally, that's a report, and informally, that's a note. And the same thing happens when you converse with people over lunchtime, over dinner time, or even in the social or discussions time in class. So it's an oral mode of communication. What are you doing when you write something? What are you doing when you share your ideas? What you are getting some ideas across to people. Hopefully you got some feedback, and hopefully people will influence you. So you are being influenced by people, and people are being influenced by your sharing. All right, program intended learning outcome, pilot number 3, is to manage your own learning and development. Okay, learning has to be managed. Well, you think back on the 12 years of your high school, or that is 6 years of high school and 6 years in primary school. Well, what have you learned? And have you managed to document your learning in such a way that you can show to people that this is my achievement over my 6 years of primary school, over my 6 years in high school? What can you show people? Well, same for the 4 years in college. What can you show people what you have accomplished at the end of your college study? For example, when you go for a job interview, tell me something you have accomplished over the 4 years of your study. I got 16A. I got a lot of A's, a lot of good comments from teachers. Then what have you learned? I got fewer C than A. What have you learned? I got fewer development than you expected. Do you know how to manage your time? Do you know how to manage your skills in organizing your work? Do you have a plan in lifelong learning? Okay, so I think GE could help to stimulate you a little bit about this directions, because in a major course of study, we have a lot of content to master. Is a better word than memorize. Memorization is not the key. Normally, when we memorize we do not know how to apply them, okay, because we do not know what we're going to use them for. So that we need pilot number 4, we need to have some thinking skills, and not just ordinary thinking skills, but critical thinking skills that will help us to do some analysis of something, put things apart, look at the situations as it is based on the observation skills, and put things together to come up with our perspective in such a way in any problem scenario or situations of concern, we could have some way to solve problems based on our perspective. But this will be different from other people's. And pilot number 5, you will have the ability to interpret, to explain to people, and to synthesize, to put things together, a range of information exemplars. I do not know the answers, but based on the experience of past case study, this is what I discovered. And I can offer you a little bit of analysis of my own, and this is my view. Take it or not, I don't care, but I just have to tell you, this is my view. You may disagree with me, but it's you to take, all right? So you can always provide some interpretations and put things together for people, for them to make decisions. And then you also need to learn something about what is meant by personal and social responsibility. You come to study in this course, you know that in order to pass this course, you need to do something. And normally that is called coursework. And normally beside coursework, you might have a test, a quiz, or final exam. So in order to pass this course, you need to get prepared for the coursework, for the test, for the final exam. You know these are your personal responsibility. But when you get involved in teamwork, you know that the success of this team depends on the contributions of each one in the team. So you know that besides helping you to get a good grade, your work done in the team will also help the team member to get a good grade. So you have some kind of responsibility shared among the team members. So in a sense, it's more than one person, so we call it social. But in the context of a housekeeping, it's much easier. You have a home, and I have a home. My home is situated in apartment A, your home is situated in apartment B, and each home is going to produce a garbage. And if you produce the garbage and take it out just in front of your own apartment door and believe that that's the way to clean the garbage, then I would say that you do not have any social responsibility because you should put the garbage in the common garbage bin, all right? So this is something very simple to understand. So to understand something more maturely, we need some kind of reasoning. The reasoning must be based on common good, and we use the word ethical to describe the common good, okay, for people. And common good for people could not be just conceived and do nothing. You do not say, I have a good idea what common good is all about. We want to have a clean neighborhood. But my actions tells me that I'm not for common good because I just took my garbage out and throw it in front of my door and don't care about who's going to deal with that. So thinking and doing something is different. And then you need to have some kind of interpersonal competency. How are you going to communicate with people in such a way that you will tell people difficult situations that you cannot handle and ask for help, or tell people something that people might not like directly, but you have to tell them, just like what I said. It does not mean that I disagree with you, but this is the situations based on my interpretation. I can tell you what I believe, and you can take it or not. It does not matter, but it's not personal. But allow me to tell you in 5 minutes, this is how I look at it. Okay? Something like this. You need to learn how to communicate yourselves. And the way that you pick up the skill to communicate with people becomes your engagement skill with diverse community. When you live in a residential college, you don't live with people from your own neighborhood. You live with people from different regions. Okay, mainland China, Hong Kong, overseas. And how are you going to live with people that are difficult to deal with? Are you going to fight them, kill them? No. You have to have the kind of the capacity to demonstrate to people that in order to live together in a harmonious way, we need to have a basic idea of what is good for all. And so these are real-world challenges. Okay, so in the context of general education, you want to need learning situations where you have to learn and demonstrate the kind of competency that it's going to be important for you as your evidence learning or evidence of accomplishment. And finally, this is very important, it's called using integrative and applied learning to put together, synthesize, to advance accomplishment in a new setting. That means how are you going to transfer what you learn in this area to a totally new domains of problem solving. And people can look at you and ask you, oh, you are interested in this job. And tell me what you've done in college, which will give me some confidence that you can handle this job. And all of a sudden you discover you have never done things like this before, and you're going to tell the interviewer, no, I have not learned this, the teacher has not taught me this in college. What do you think? If I were the person who's going to interview you, I would think that you may not be able to handle this job because you do not demonstrate ability to expand your knowledge. But what if you can say that, well, you're right, I have not done anything like this before, but based on my knowledge and experience accumulated in college, particularly in taking course in teamwork and doing a problem, I believe the competency that I received there could be extendable to this situation because basically I need problem solving skill. And I don't do things alone. And if you can demonstrate this kind of maturity to integrate what you learned and apply what you've learned before to a new setting, people will believe that, oh, you're mature enough. Okay, you're no longer a kid. So we want you to have specialized knowledge. That's why you need to choose a major.
but we want you to learn how to apply your specialized knowledge in such a way that people will believe that you're a mature person and you know how to handle complex situations. And that's the purpose of general education courses, to give you a little bit more time to think about things and apply things together, and so that it's the GE program intended learning outcomes. Now let's take a look at the course learning objective. In this course, we have, as I mentioned last time, based on the syllabus, we have 3 course learning objectives. Now, course learning objectives are simply statements of faith written by the teacher. And I believe this is what I intend to do, okay? So the first statement said, I'm here to help you as a student to become literate, have some knowledge in the fundamental basics of information security and privacy, which is associated with the internet era, including some concepts of computer and communication in security, all right? Using modern day example, I just given you 3 discussion essay in Chinese based on the Macau situation. I hope you read it already through the Moodle environment. And the second thing is, once you learn something basic, I encourage you as a teacher to formulate, to create some views of your own, okay? And express your views, well, on a specific context of how are you going to design information security and privacy in the situations of your concern. Okay, that means, do you have any suggestions? What are we going to do? For example, you're going to come up here to present yourself in 2 to 5 minutes interview. How can we do better without sacrificing your privacy? Well, so we suggest that you may look at some stories, which is in the form of case study, or in the forms of journal paper or newspaper, or in the form of all presentations like in the YouTube. A lot of people talk things about that, or as a classroom discussions with your fellow students. And then finally, the third, it's to raise your awareness of the impact of information security and privacy in the computer industry. Well, I'm not interested in that. I'm not selling computers. No, you're using computers. You're using a lot of communication devices like the CTM provide a mobile service, and you have a mobile phone, and you have a package, all right? And you need to know what to choose. And so, through critical discourses, that means you don't just talk about things without thinking about it. You talk about things based on facts, based on evidence, based on stories, and based on viewpoints that you can collect throughout different areas of concerns for the purposeful human endeavors of the learning. All right? So these are the 3 very simple statements that I would like to help you, okay, to encourage you to raise your concerns in this area. And when you look at things like this, it's directly related to the specific pinos, okay? This one is related to the 2 pinos here, with the 3 pinos here, and the 4 pinos here, all right? And so, finally, we come to the very important context. In each course, this is what we hope, and we need to do it in such a way that we could get from students, and students must demonstrate throughout the course, and that they are able to do something in this area. We have 6 course intended learning outcomes we call the cycles. The cycles means these are things students are expected to do, to be able to do at the end of the course. The 6 cycles are, you know how to describe the importance of IT and the related ethical issues. It's a very general statement, but it's an action. You know how to describe in written work or in oral presentations the importance of IT information technology and the related ethical issues, whether it's going to be right or wrong. The second cycle is to describe, again is describe, the principles and concepts related to information security and privacy. So what are the differences between principles and concept? Well, concept, it's ideas about anything. But principle is not just idea, but it's the idea tested to be valuable. So what is the principle of the following situations? When we human become or better say feel hungry, what are we supposed to do? The general idea is when we feel hungry, we're going to eat. But if you postulate one principle that said, when we feel hungry, we're going to the restroom. Is it logical? Okay, so you know something about this, all right? So it's principle, it's the kind of postulations that tells you something that is going to be acceptable under particular situations when something happens. All right? So number 3 is to outline and analyze the impacts of information security issues of information facility. Now let me tell you what's meant by information facility. Your mobile phone is one information facility. Your email account is another information facility because through that you're going to receive informations or transmit informations. Now the question here is, how are you going to outline and analyze? Outline is very simple. Give some concrete idea. Okay? Analyze it, look at the concrete idea and provide some more details. The impact, the influence of information security issues on information facility. The iPhone is a famous example. iPhone, when it's first used, people do not know that when you use the iPhone, there's a tracking device inside the iPhone where it will actually track where you're going every day. And it happens that we became aware of this when the story from New York came in. A woman would like to know where her husband has been going every day. And then she discovered that she could actually use that specific tool to track where her husband is. And she hired a private detective, and the private detective knows the trick. And then the private detective prints out the tracking spot of her husband for the woman's reference. And it was discovered that unfortunately her husband had an affairs. Okay? And the evidence was produced by the iPhones. And then people would say, wow, when I used the iPhone, it was actually tracked by the company in iPhone with all the details of where I'm going. Okay, so this is one issue. Another issue is about the email account. Do you believe that when you use any specific email account, no one is going to look at your emails? Do you believe that even you're using the universal account, email account, no one is able to look at your email? Actually, if you have done job in administrations, a system administrations, you know that the administrator always has the right to look at your emails. And if the administrator runs the right to manage the email to other people with the privilege of that, they could look at your email. But the principle is, the school will say, the company will say, no, this is not what you're supposed to do, even though you have a privilege to do that. But if you do that, you violate our company laws, and then you'll be fired. Okay, then the interesting story in 2014, there was one guy called Edward Snowden from the United States, and he used to work at the Homeland Security Department of the United States government. And then he discovered that the United States government is actually spying on her citizens, eavesdropping, taping into every phone call, every emails of her own citizens without asking for their permissions. And then he also leaks the news that the US government actually has a hand on spying these alliances, particularly Germany. And then he broke the news. And what happened is, he was considered as someone highly wanted by the US government. And he knew it's going to be in big trouble. And so what he did is he left the States secretly, and then he came to Hong Kong for about a month, looking for assignment for our country, and now he's in Russia, still being protected by the Russian government. And he could not go back to the US because he broke the news. Okay. Information security. Issues on information facilities. Okay? And sign number 4 again describe the usage of various encryption methods and related ethical issues. Here the big term is encryptions. Encryption is a technical term. It represents a kind of technology which can be used to convert something plain into something written. That's why when I give you a piece of letter, if it is written in Chinese, you read it. If it is written in English, you read it, and you know the message there. But if I give you a piece of message, then when you read it, you never know what it meant because every sensible message has been encoded with something written using the method of encryptions. And when you read it, you need to decrypt it using the method of decryptions corresponding to the encryptions. And are we going to do that? So, but during the World War II, it is a very famous that Britain had to do a lot of spying on the messages sent by the German army who discovered the next move of attack on the lines in Britain. And they did a lot of things to decrypt the messages of the German army. Okay, and under that circumstances, it is in wartime, or if it's, well, at least from the country's point of view, it's sensible. But what if today, in our work environment, if people is going to decrypt a message to your friends or family, that is not going to work. Okay, sign number 5, to analyze and explain the impacts of computer crime to society. What is meant by computer crime? Any crime that is committed by people with the use of technology, particularly with the computing devices. All right. So today in Macau we do have similar laws to govern things like this, and we're talking the impacts of that. What is the one example you can give? I gave one example last time. It's when you look for a job. Okay. If you happen to fall into the trap of those intellect scam, they will ask you for informations, and they will ask you to do something which sounds to be very legitimate. But all of a sudden you discover that you are actually helping the organized gangs to launder the money. And this is what happened in the United States a lot of time with a lot of house riots. And finally, how are we going to apply our knowledge in a technical area and also in a legal area to produce something which could help us to address, or better say, reduce the threat of information insecurity in our lives? Okay? So what can our government do to help reduce possible problems? So, having said that, if you come back to the discussion threads that I posed yesterday, I've given you 3 stories. Okay? First story, I'm sorry, it's taken off from the Macau, so it's written in Chinese, but we have to interpret it in English. Okay? So what it's suggested here is whenever you sign for anything in the intellect, you better use the real name. So this is not new, but in Macau, it's a very good move. Like in today, when I upload the videos to the YouTube, I need to use my real name. I will not use a fake name. Okay? So read this story. It's very interesting. And then another story. Now try to comment on this. I want you to comment on this and write in English. Okay? Provide a little bit of comments. And then another story which I mentioned last time, and which is quite appealing. In the past 2 weeks, about the Special Police from our Macau's police force. The guy is a black sheep. He did something very bad to teenage girls because he did the following. He used a different identity in the social networking site, deceiving a group of teenage girls, actually many, in the sense that she, instead of he, that is a man, okay? But she is a young model from the age of 13 to 17 or 20. And she's doing something great in her young model business development. Now in Hong Kong, this is very common, all right? And normally, they need to produce what we call a nude picture of themselves as a young model. You know what it means, right? All right? And then she used some nude picture, maybe of her own making, of his own making, to entice quite a number of the young teenage girl from secondary school to come into the business of young model, because he has described a lot of good things about this. And the condition is, each one of them, if you're willing to join, must send him a nude picture of herself. All right, you don't do something so silly about this. But in Macau, that's what happened. A lot of girls sent to this guy, pursuing them, so it's a colleagues just like the girl, the nude picture. And this guy make use of the nude picture from individual girls and threaten them. And read the story, and you know what's happening. And it happens that he has been doing that for at least 2 years. And how was the story discovered? The story was discovered through an incident reported by one of the victims, and the police carried out deeper investigations, including going to the particular man's home and study the computer and the hard disk of this man's computer, discovered that the many, many records of girls' picture like this, and all of these from the town. Not only reported 3 or 4 cases, but after this discovery, the whole society was shocked. Now, how is this related to information security and privacy? When did it start? And how did it go? All right? So your thinking is very important here. I want to see some comments from each one of you. All right? And in English. All right? So, examples like this. And then today, I want to start out with a simple idea in information security. All right? So what is information security?
When I say security breach, it's the first thing that pops into your mind. Someone hacking into your bank account or dumpster diving for confidential material. In fact, the majority of security breaches happen in the workplace unintentionally. Many employees are still uninformed about the type of information that needs to be protected. The documents that put people and businesses at risk are things like invoices, reports, and employee records. Anything that shows customer, employee, or company information. And this is the stuff that can lead to identity theft, which is a huge problem today. 9 million Americans and close to 2 million Canadians are victims of identity theft every year. Mishandled, lost, and stolen papers are often the cause. Identity theft costs victims in the US about $5 billion every year. Altogether, nearly 20 million hours and over $150 million are spent trying to resolve the problems created by fraud. But you know, there's a really simple solution. Document destruction. Shred all documents when you don't need them anymore. A shred all policy means that every office document is destroyed. No one person has to decide what is or isn't confidential. Here are some simple tips to avoid potential security breaches in your workplace. First, Identify risks that may threaten the security of confidential information. Know the life cycle of documents in your office, from generation to storage to destruction. Then, create a security culture so that all your employees and suppliers value confidentiality. And finally, train your staff on a shred-all policy. Don't leave it to chance, because no one can be right 100% of the time. Shred it, making sure it's secure.
Okay, I have to apologize. I do not mean to show this video to help them to promote the business. Okay, this is basically commercials produced by this company, Shred It. They provide special service on this. Now I want you to spend 5 minutes time, okay, thinking about.
Hello everyone, and welcome to our HIPAA and high-tech What You Need to Know webinar.
All right.
Presenting for us today are 3 representatives from Shred It who work with organizers.
Definitely they have a follow-up on this, but we're not interested in that. I want you to spend some time, 5 minutes at most, on your own, 1 to 2 minutes, to write down some immediate impressions of capturing idea from this video, okay, 1 to 2 minutes, and then for the remaining 2 to 3 minutes, talk to the person next to you and try to exchange the information you got from the video, okay, and come up with some ideas of what are we going to get from this video, all right? The idea is, what is information security? And what have this guy telling you something about us? And definitely they have a lot of things here, but I think that the 2 minutes there that he's talking about information security would be good enough, all right? And then when it's 11 o'clock, I'm going to invite individual you to come up here to introduce yourself. And at the end of your introductions, tell a little bit of your impressions of what is meant by information security, okay? Your personal impressions, all right? So your challenge in the next 10 minutes, or 10 to 15 minutes, first, you spend 1 to 2 minutes jotting down your immediate impressions of what is information security after watching this video. And then you share that information with the person next to you and got some ideas of what the other people have heard. And at the same time, you can also tell your labor what you heard and exchange of information. Now, it's possible that you can share with more than 1 person's look around, all right? So at least you need some person to share with, all right? And then at the end of that, when it's 11 o'clock, I will invite individual you here to introduce yourself. And at the end of the introductions, tell a little bit about your ideas of information security, all right? So it's your time now. You're free to talk. You don't need to sit there. I will increase the amount of time you're talking, all right? So please do it. Oh, yes, you need some paper. Let me give you some paper. I think 1 piece of paper per student would be good enough. Okay? I think it's important that beside my talking, you need to do some kind of exercise. Hey, could I invite you to come here? Yes. Sit next to this lady. Yeah. Hey, could I invite you to come here and sit next to this gentleman? Do you know what you're supposed to do? Okay, thank you. It's all right. Ask question. I want to make sure that you have interactions, and you can always ask me questions. Now, if you want to see, and you want to look at this video again, all right? Because you have not paid enough attention at the very beginning, I'm going to do it again.
When I say security breach, what's the first thing that pops into your mind? Someone hacking into your bank account or dumpster diving for confidential material? In fact, the majority of security breaches happen in the workplace unintentionally. Many employees are still uninformed about the type of information that needs to be protected. The documents that put people and businesses at risk are things like invoices, reports, and employee records. anything that shows customer, employee, or company information. And this is the stuff that can lead to identity theft, which is a huge problem today. 9 million Americans and close to 2 million Canadians are victims of identity theft every year. Mishandled, lost, and stolen papers are often the cause. Identity theft costs victims in the US about $5 billion every year. Altogether, nearly 20 million hours and over $150 million are spent trying to resolve the problems created by fraud. But you know, there's a really simple solution. Document destruction. Shred all documents when you don't need them anymore. A shred all policy means that every office document is destroyed. No one person has to decide what is or isn't confidential. Here are some simple tips to avoid potential security breaches in your workplace. First, identify risks that may threaten the security of confidential information. Know the life cycle of documents in your office, from generation to storage to destruction. Then, create a security culture so that all your employees and suppliers value confidentiality. And finally, train your staff on a shred-all policy. Don't leave it to chance, because no one can be right 100% of the time. Shred it, making sure it's secure.
Okay? So, remember, your mission is to make sense of information security. You can jot down some ideas you got from the video. You can, after that, you can add some of your own perspective. Then you share it with the persons next to you and listens to the persons who would like to share it to you again. And when it is 11, I'm going to invite individual to come up here and to introduce yourself, and at the end of your introductions, tell us something about your ideas of what information security is all about. It's a short in-class exercise to help you to get some ideas. Now remember, when you jot down something, it is not necessary that it has to be textual. You can just actually draw a picture that represents your idea. You have to be creative, okay? As long as you can communicate your ideas with your fellow students next to you, or then with the class friends to understand. Finished putting things down for yourself, you can actually turn to your next partner on the student next to you and start talking. It's your time to talk among yourself. And actually, since this is not a very good room, in this kind of format, we need to have to form a circle and then listen to one another. We need to have a discussion through instead of very formal. Go back over the classroom. Where in the meantime, allow me to get today. Lucas is not here. Angelina, thank you. Bryson, thank you. Dongyin, thank you. Sammy, thank you. Lancy, thank you. Sophie, not here yet. Okay. And it's Yuma. Thank you. All right. Any person whose name has not been called? All right. After this, take the attendance. Okay. I suggest that you now turn to your fellow student next to you or around you and start exchanging some of your views. All right. It's very important that you got some ideas from your fellow students and add to your own perspective. Social learning, all right? It's very polite of you. Many of you do not want to talk. Let me just accelerate a little bit, all right? I give you 3 more minutes for exchanging your informations, all right? You just write your idea and then share that with your fellow students. It's very important that we want to get some exchanges of feedback from our fellow students. Now remember, learning is not always that formal. We have to do a lot of informal learning through conversations, videos, and sometimes just thinking and sharing. What about doing it this way? Let me just, if you're ready, all right? Because I guess each one of you have mobile phones, right? So can you come up to the discussion forum here? This is the public online discussion forum for week number 1, all right? So let me create a thread. Discussion thread. So you can just respond by typing something in. You come here, all right? Get online through your mobile devices, and you just need to type by clicking the reply and type in something of your own. That you don't need to forget about it, and always your records are here. So let's do it. I reserve at least 6 or 10 minutes for your personal introductions. Okay, so no. What about doing it this way? Because I will start inviting individuals to come up here to introduce yourself and to do a little bit of your personal perspective. And at the end of that, when you return to your seats or when you finish this class, during the day, please type in something. All right? That will be much more efficient in terms of things like this. May I invite the ladies first, in the first row? could you come up here, introduce yourself? Thank you very much.
Hello everyone, nice to meet you. My name is Wei Yiwei and you can just call me Anna. I come from Zhejiang province and now my major is Chinese education because I have a dream when I'm 27 years old, I want to be a university student, a university a teacher, sorry. In the spare time, I always read the books, and recently I'm reading Jin Yong's 射雕英雄传.
Wow.
I don't know how to say it in English.
It's okay.
And I like playing Chinese chess and writing California. Last time in the Christmas holiday, I went to Taiwan and I become a little fat. So recently, I'm on a diet. I'm also a sports. I like sport and I like running. If you want to play ping pong ball with me, I will be happy to. What's more, I want to say something about the video just now. From the video, to my mind, I think the information security is a kind of protection for yourself, and you have to protect yourself, such as your age, height, weight, and even your birthday. Because sometimes someone will use their birthday, the date of their birthday as the password. So from the video, I learned to delete the useless documents as soon as possible. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anna. So can you pass the microphone to the lady next to you? Yes. I'm your cameraman now.
Hello everyone, nice to meet you all. My name is Danny and I'm from the major psychology and I'm a year student. Actually there's no why I choose this major. Maybe it's because I would like to know more about what people think and how they think like that way. And I think that's interesting, and actually I didn't know much about psychology, but it's fine. I think I would like to explore more for maybe the rest of my life, because that's what I like. And so about why I choose this course, actually the students in this course is much less than I suspect. Yes, but actually I chose this course. Maybe this course is not the easiest one or the best one that I could get a fine grade. But I think this course is the one that I can actually learn something, especially after listening to the introduction from Dr. Watt. Yes.
Right.
Yes. So I'm not regret about choosing this course, and I'm actually very glad I can enroll this course. Thank you very much.
Are you from Macau?
What?
Are you from Macau?
I'm from mainland. I'm from Guangdong, maybe Canton.
Canton, yes. Which RC are you staying? Residential
I
college.
live in Chengtong College.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Could you pass the microphone to the next lady in the second row? Thank you. Hi.
Good morning. It's my honor to have this opportunity to introduce myself to everyone here. My Chinese name is Li Nan. My English name is Nancy. I'm 19 years old from Shandong province.
Welcome.
My major is sociology, which is very interesting but a little complex. because it nearly includes all aspects of social life. I have been learning to play the piano for 14 years. Chopin is my favorite musician.
Wow.
I think he is a real romantic poetic of music. Besides, I have many other hobbies such as reading, shopping, and eating delicious food. I'm also a member of Mandarin debate team.
That's great.
One interesting thing, when my friends knew I chose CISG, all of them said, no, don't choose that, it's so difficult. I'm crazy. And one of my best friends even withdrew CISG last semester before final examination. But fortunately, what she learned was CISG114, and I read CISG113. Whatever, I think I'll do my best to learn this course. I think it's very practical and useful. That's me. That's
Okay.
all.
What do you think of the video, the information security?
I think this video just mentioned a very important problem in our life, because when we study, work, or even go shopping, we have to provide some personal information, and sometimes we can't realize the importance of security or even personal privacy. This video just tells us we should notice that and take some measures to protect our privacy.
Thank you very much. Could you pass the microphone to the lady next to you? Hello.
Hello, good morning everyone. My name is Angel and I'm from Macau. I'm studying Portuguese as a major. I'm a young student. Why did I choose Portuguese as my major? Because of my family, and this is one of the reasons. And the other reason is I like to study Portuguese. It's my favorite language. And I like to dance, I like to bake, and I will do some sports in my spare time. You may find me as you want. And I think I'm 18 years old, and I actually don't know what to say about me because I don't have really things to tell.
Okay. Are you staying in the residential college?
Yes, I live in LCWC, Beijing.
Okay, thank you very much. Looking forward to know more of you.
So,
Yeah, yes.
I
What
mean,
about the
talk
video?
about the video.
Yes.
I think information security is the practice of defending information from unauthorized access, use, disclosure, disruption, modification, inspection, recording, or destruction. It can be used regardless of the form from the data may take. I think it's a kind of protection to ourselves, and I think there's a link between security and privacy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So now it's the boys' turn. Could you pass the microphone to the first gentleman here? Thank you.
Hello, good morning everyone. My name is Weizen, and my full name is Tom Weizen too. And I'm a psychology, my major is psychology, but why I choose this major? Because I'm not an outcoming person. I want to know everyone thing. Yes, I'm not taught much, but I like to hear, to listen people talking. So maybe I want to be a counselor. Yes, but what I'm staying in MC in UM.
Right. Thank you.
Yes. Someone may call this a dark ball. Yes, the darkness RC in UM. But I think that's not too bad when you compare with other RC. It's not too bad, but maybe it's the step below the standard. And so we can see the information security is very important nowadays. And we can see recently, you can see news about Sony is attacked by the hacker.
Yes.
Yes, so the information nowadays is very important. So it's very it's easy to leak our information because the Facebook we can share our data, birthday or something. So it's we should buy what we write on the Facebook wall or any social platforms.
Yes. Thank you very much. You make us aware of the Sony example. It's a very good example. We can talk a little bit more about this. Okay. Can you pass the microphone to the second gentleman?
Okay, good morning everyone. My name is Billy and I'm from Macau. My major is sociology and I'm a year 1 student. I'd like to do something social working, so I choose the sociology, this major, to understand the structure of Macau, the structure of others, society, and the culture of the society.
Right, that's very good.
Yeah, and I helped some organizations to do the social working about 6 years, and I met a social worker. Then she teach me, then she take me to have a course in Hong Kong and let me to have some classes about the teenagers and to listen their problems. And also I keep this job about 1 year and to listen some people to share their problems, and I helped them to solve their problems. Yeah, and about the radio, I think the information security is very important because it is about the private information. Just like my work is to listen the people's problem, and also they will have something in private problems that they didn't want the other person to know. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you. Wow, I think you are actually a part-time social worker.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, very good. So could you pass the microphone to the third gentleman in this row? Thank you.
Good morning everyone. My name is Oscar. I'm a year 1 student. I like play basketball. And in the evening, I always go to play basketball. I live in the Choi College. If you like to play basketball, you can find me. My major is psychology, like him. Okay. So psychology. Okay, I'm so psychology.
It's okay. Thank you.
Why I choose this course? Because my roommate like to learn about the information security. So I follow him to choose this course. The second, I think this course is very interesting, and the information security is always in our life. It can protect our security. Okay, that's all.
Thank you, Oscar. Yeah, I think you've given a very interesting introduction to yourself. And let's pass to the gentleman over there.
Hello, everyone. Morning. My name is Owen. Is 4-year student, and my subject is EME. Last among them. information is to project. Personal information include gambling and properties and safe and family location and housing and our comfortable and moreover improve our traffic our or the car or the principle about the social. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are you year 4 student?
Yes, it's year 60, but personal information is so for year 4 student.
Okay, we'll talk about this. Thank you very much. We give the microphone to the last gentleman. Thank you.
Good morning. I am Emma. I am year 1 student. I come from Macau. My subject is history. I chose history because my favorite subject is history in young. I see more history books in young time. Today I choose the security as the course because I think favorite in because I have memory that my computer was hacked.
You want to learn something to protect yourself. Thank you very much.
I need to choose this subject to protect my computer. In my thinking of, in my knowing of understanding of security, I think security is when computer is invented. Then
It's okay. You can just, you've done a very good job in helping us understand your points.
computer need to protect. In the video, I see that many American is them.
Thank you. It's all right. It's all right. It's okay. Just leave it on the table. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you very much for all your introductions. I know the time is running out, so it's almost 11:30. So if you have classes, I will say that you're free to go. And I really want to manage the time to release all of you 15 minutes before the next class. So that is very important. Now, let me say that I appreciate all of your effort to help introduce yourself to the class. Sometimes it's not easy. Holding the microphone, standing here, sharing your information, and all of a sudden you discover you may say something. All right, so now let me tell you a little bit about next class. Read my teacher's message, okay? And if you care to share something here, please type in something here during the day. Next week, when we come back here, based on the situations that I've observed with all of you, I will have a little bit interesting adjustment, but I need to see how many students are there too, all right? So, but in the meantime, your questions, you can ask me questions through the Dr. West hotline, and I will install for each one of you your private channel by tomorrow. I've not installed it yet. It's just a link over here, okay? But you will have a private channel, as I said, in the hotline for each week, and also for the whole semester. So, I want to say one more time, thank you very much for these bunch of year 1, year 2 students who have shown me very interesting enthusiasms to learn something in this class. And I hope you enjoy it, all right? So that's it for today's class. And until next Monday, we'll see each other once again, all right?